welcome back to Too Hard, Too Fast, the podcast with strong opinions about things that we may or may not know too much about in order to broaden perspectives. Woo! It's been a break. I took a break. I lost my mind for a second and it was fine because I didn't need to find it. But I did find Sabrina Begay. And actually, I met her because I was emceeing this event for the Down Syndrome Association, and she just happened to do an amazing job at singing the national anthem, which we're going to talk about. Sabrina is the lead singer for Culture Jam. And you know what? We're going to have a party today because it ain't no party unless you have a Culture Jam party.
Right.
And joining us today as a guest co-host is Arthur. Arthur is the owner of the YouTube channel, A Rowdy Texan Abroad. And I brought Arthur on because since he is an Aggie fan, he needs some culture in his life. So here we got some Culture Jam.
Well, thanks for having me, George. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for joining. I'm clearly very rusty. It's been a while. So let's sit back, buckle up. Let's start the show. Let's go too hard, too fast. Boom.
Boom.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome to Too Hard, Too Fast.
Too hard, too fast.
Too hard, too fast.
Too hard, too fast.
Welcome to Too Hard, Too Fast.
Welcome back to Too Hard, Too Fast. I am Sabrina from Culture Jam.
Woo! Culture Jam! Get you some.
Every Thursday, Saturday.
Every Thursday, Saturday.
The podcast of the century.
Right. All right, Sabrina, first question. Right off the bat, what are you drinking?
So I have my famous Hotty Toddy, which I like to drink before a gig. And I also like to drink this time of year when I'm having some issues with my vocals. It's something I've been drinking since I was a little kid. And what makes it very interesting, I'm mixing it up right now and putting some honey. It's ginseng tea. It's got some honey, some lemon, and then my favorite, some Jim Beam.
There it is.
That's what gives it the hottie part. Yeah.
You've been having that since you were a kid with the
Yes.
Jimmy Beamy?
Yes, my grandmother, this was her secret recipe. When I was feeling sick, I go to her, I'd be like, I'm not feeling good. She'd make some of this up. She's like, drink this, Reno, because she used to call me Reno. I'd drink some of this up and woo, I was ready to go.
I think that was every grandparent back in the day, because my grandparents didn't even drink. But if you were sick, it was something like that. So
It was acceptable. It was.
Yeah.
I know.
Have a toothache? Here's some whiskey, right? Yeah.
And that's why we grew up with issues.
Right now, I see
And
the
that's
source
how
of
Too
my
Hard,
issues.
Too Fast started. Oh, man. So what does it taste like when you combined it all together?
Like heaven? I mean, it depends on how much whiskey you put in. Let's see. I put almost most of the bottle in there. Now, one, it helps calm my nerves before I go on stage, but I mean, it actually does taste pretty good. I mean, if you're a whiskey drinker, sometimes, whatever, bourbon, whiskey, whatever you use, it tastes awesome. And with the lemon and the honey, I mean, it makes it taste sweet. And if you like herbal teas, I mean, you can use pretty much any tea. I mean, it's going to lubricate those vocal cords. And I mean, anybody who's suffering with allergies, or if you're sick or whatever, I mean, it tastes and it feels so awesome. It soothes everything. So I have a couple of bandmates that now they're using this, before the shows, and it makes a difference.
As we like to say, using and abusing.
Mm-hmm.
No, but so let's say, I know it brings a lot of good memories to you. So usually when we introduce the drink, we would like to do a review on it. So given the fact that obviously you know that it's going to taste good, it's for good use as well with your vocals. We do a 1.0 to 2 using decimals. What would you rate this based on the taste only, not the good memories, not the good use, just the taste.
Let's see. Hold on.
just to make sure that you get a good, accurate scale.
Okay, so 1 being, and then like, what's the
2.
highest?
2. So 1.0, you can use decimals as many as you want or need. Up to 2, because too hard, too fast. Where's my 2?
Okay, it's like a 1.5.
All right, 1.5. That's not bad. That's a good rating. That would make me interested in trying it if I wasn't already. So I'm gonna have to try to mix myself a mix, and I'm gonna use the whole bottle.
For sure.
I don't know about these little bottle things.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the whole handle.
Yeah, you can go by the jug. I like to
Arthur,
buy my
what are you
whiskey in
drinking,
plastic
Arthur?
bottles. I am drinking the go-to for a Saturday game day. Just keeping it. I don't know where my camera's at. There it is. Keeping it simple. I like to, I know what the Bud Light's going to do, and I know where. It's it's staying hydrated, right?
So Bud Light. This is the first for Bud Light. We have not. I think we've done Bud Light seltzers, but never just the regular Bud Light.
So I got to tell this story. So last weekend I went down. I was in San Antonio watching the Cowboys get destroyed, and my sister has started drinking the Bud Light seltzers. She had it was Bud Light seltzer flannel pack, and it had like some weird flavors in it, like pumpkin and apple crisp, and they were good. They were good. I tried. I gotta admit it. They were good.
They're the ones with the commercial where you pop it and like the wall explodes or something.
No, those are the tie-dye ones, which they're
okay.
calling them throwback, which, I mean, seltzers have been around for what, like a year?
Yeah.
It's like throw some leftover colors we had for other cans on there and call it a throwback.
All right, so 1.0 to 2, Arthur, what would you rate a Bud Light? This is the first. People always say, you always rate the expensive beers.
It's simple. It's a 1. It tastes horrible, but you know what you're getting. That's right. You know what you're getting. It's you get an 18-pack for like $17. So,
Sabrina, since I knew you were mixing something up, I decided to try to mix something up too. But so we've had both of these liquors on this podcast before. The Howler Head banana whiskey, which I've liked very much because it tastes like bananas, but it doesn't give you like that sugary like taste, like where it's just artificial fakeness. And then
it's like real bananas, not Laffy Taffy banana.
Yeah, exactly. And it's still 40%, so it doesn't cut any of the liquor down. And I'm gonna mix it with this Skrewball peanut butter whiskey.
Yum.
So I've had this before, and it's also very good, and it does taste like peanut butter, unlike that artificial others that say like just tastes like, I don't know, salt.
George, you got to get the peanut butter whiskey with grape juice.
Grape juice.
That terrified me. My cousin gave it to me a few weeks ago. He's like, "No, you got to try it. It tastes like a peanut butter jelly sandwich."
Peanut butter jelly sandwich. Okay, I could see that. I wasn't. Well, the idea with this is the Elvis peanut butter sandwich. Peanut butter.
Oh.
So hopefully, I'm making a mess over here. Hopefully that's what this tastes like. I can't remember what I gave them separately, but together. It's like the banana flavor hits, and then the peanut butter just randomly sneaks up, and it's different.
He's going back for round 2. Let's see.
Yeah. Ooh, that's gonna be hard. The whole podcast, that's going to be a difficult podcast. I'm going to go with a 1.38. 1.38 with the mixture. Ooh, separate,
looked
they
like
get
it was
really high
getting better.
scores. Together, not a good idea.
It looked like it was getting better though, because your second reaction wasn't nearly as violent as the first one.
By the end of the episode, it's gonna be like, yeah, this is great. 1.38,
baby.
what was I thinking? Oh, Sabrina Begay, thank you for joining us. Culture Jam. How did Culture Jam come about?
Well, the original members of Culture Jam are our manager, Joe Perez, and Johnny Gutierrez, our guitarist, and our keyboardist, Michael Garrick. And they started out as the Texas Alley Cats. So if anybody's familiar with the Texas Alley Cats, they had already been around probably 5-6 years ago. And I guess they decided they were going to change like the whole dynamic of like, you know, their audience and the market they wanted to hit. And so band members changed, the music changed, and they became Culture Jam. And that was about 3 years ago. And they originally had another singer, and I was just her fill-in starting last year. And eventually she ended up leaving the band along with their drummer. And then Gino Macias, who's our new drummer, and then myself, we came in. So we've now been with the band for about a year.
Did she leave the band, or you were just better?
You got to ask the guys.
Oh, but you know what? It's so cool about the band because you were telling me about it when we met, and you know I was trying to picture it, but not a full picture was because I was still super nervous. You know, go up on stage, and that's what I was asking you. I was like, "Are you nervous?" And I want to talk about that in a little bit about your national anthem and you know me being up there, but so when I got home and I looked you up and I was looking at Culture Jam, I saw what you meant by not just a cover band. Like, yes, you guys are a cover band, but you guys, I don't think I've ever seen a cover band do a variety of different musics and genres. I always see like one cover band, we're covering just one band or we're covering just one genre, but not you guys. You guys are down to do all kinds of music.
Mm-hmm.
Is that difficult to like learn all kinds of music, or does it just come naturally?
That comes naturally for me because I grew up listening to all kinds of music in my house. I mean, like my brother was always listening to soul and R&B, but then you had my sister who was listening to pop music, and then my other sister was listening to Tejano. And so I grew up listening to everything. And then my mother was a huge George Strait, Randy Travis, you know, I was Reba McEntire fan. So I grew up learning everything. And that's one of the things that attracted Culture Jam to me, because I already had a background in like these different types of music. And like, they knew, hey, you know, we can sell ourselves as a true variety band. And that's exactly how we sell ourselves on our website. So like, for instance, if you want to hire us for your event, we'll send you to our website and there's basically a menu. We call it our menu, and you can choose what you want to hear for the evening. If you want a Tejano band that night, we'll be a Tejano band. You want to pop and R&B, we'll be pop and R&B. Country, you know, and that's how we've been selling ourselves. And we've been booking a lot more private events because we're able to kind of conform to whatever it is your event is. So
yeah, that's
fun.
awesome. That's awesome. And I think that's important too. I mean, you got to have that wide variety and still allow kind of people to pick what they want to hear. You know, I'm sure we've all been there. You go to a show or something, or a, you know, county fair or something. They have a cover band that's just, you know, they have one type of music and it's good, but you know, after a while it gets kind of
redundant.
You know, just redundant, just same over and over. And it's like, okay, well, they're good.
Do you guys ever get to like mix it up within a show? Like, oh, right now you're Tejano, now then you're doing pop, and then you switch it up back to Tejano or something else?
The whole show, we're mixing it up. So one of our regular shows, we have a residency at Fat Ass Ranch and Winery in Fredericksburg. And so we do 3 sets every single time we play there. So once a month, we know we're going to do 3 sets. And we mix it up as much as possible because you have people coming in from all over the country. You have people coming in from all over Texas. And you never know because these buses are coming in every hour on the hour. And you've got all different types of people from all different types of backgrounds. And so we constantly have to keep country and rock and pop and Tejano on rotation. Show you come to, every set is going to be a complete variety.
Nice. And shout out Fat Ass Ranch. I'm a fan. When are you guys there?
Every 3rd Saturday of the month. And we throw the biggest party in Fredericksburg. I mean, people drive to Fredericksburg every 3rd Saturday of the month just to go party with the Culture Jam because it really is the biggest party in Fredericksburg. It's
That's
a
awesome.
great time if you've never been out there.
I love Fat Ass Ranch. I love their wines.
Yes.
It's always a funny name, obviously.
Yeah, that one caught me by surprise.
And well, yeah. So actually, we get a shipment almost every month or every other month from Fat Ass Ranch Winery. So I think next time out, we're just gonna have to go pick it up and check you guys out.
Absolutely.
For sure. Let's talk about the MC National Anthem thing. So when we first met, I hope I didn't make like a weird impression. I probably did. But I was super nervous and I was asking you, do you ever get nervous, especially being the national anthem? And you were like, well, I just get into, I focus. Of course, I'm nervous. And so I was kind of like telling you about me being nervous. And I get up there and at first I was kind of, I was nervous, but it was going away as soon as I was talking and I was getting in a groove. And I bring you on and, you did amazing, but you messed up, right? And I don't blame you at all. I blame the guy, the pastor that was on the end, loud as possible, singing. And I don't think he was on the right, or he was like going ahead or something, because I could hear you and I could hear him. And even I did this move, like, what's going on? And then I look you and you kind of
caught that. I'm glad you caught that because when I got off the stage and my husband's like, what happened? And I was telling him, I said, I could hear somebody singing it a line ahead of me in my ear. I said, and that threw me off. And I was like, nobody's going to believe that. Yeah, right. They're like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. But really that's what threw me off. I was like, and I didn't know if it was you or it was him. And I'm like, oh my God, no, he didn't,
Yeah, imagine if it was me the whole time.
I thought it was you.
Really? Is that why you didn't talk to me afterwards? It's like, this motherfucker.
Spoiler alert.
No, he didn't.
No, I was there trying to pretend like I don't know what to do because at first I was like this, obviously, and then I look around, nobody else is. I was like, do we just stand still? What are we doing? And then I'm hearing everything. I go, is this guy's messing? For me, I was saying this guy's like ruining me listening to you. But then I heard you mess up and you looked over and I kind of wanted to do this move. Like, no way.
You had a lot of stuff going on, George.
Yeah. Yeah. It was too much going on in my head. And then I just knew I didn't want to be blamed for that. I was like, I wanted to be like, oh, that guy over here.
I was nervous enough. Like I told you, the night before we had a gig till almost midnight. Well, it was midnight. It was past midnight. We were in Chavano Park doing a private Halloween event. And I mean, all of us had just gotten out of work and we went straight to the event. And I mean, we're loading our equipment and this girl, she had this huge backyard and we had to go down these stairs and up these stairs and to her backyard and buy her basketball court and then set up our lights and set up everything. And I mean, we're in costumes, in wigs, makeup, we're exhausted. And by the time we get out of there, I told the guys, normally I help them tear down. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't want to be that singer because singers have that reputation of being the ones that, okay, I'm going to grab my mic, I'm out, Well, I usually do help the guys. And I said, I got to sing the national anthem tomorrow. And they were like, it's cool, go home, whatever. I literally had like maybe 4.5 hours of sleep. And then I was up and because I live in Alamo Ranch. And then to make that little hike all the way over there to, where were we? In Selma?
Soma, yeah.
Yes. I was like, oh my gosh.
Hey, are we
Yeah.
just
I was
gonna
already
blow
nervous
past the
enough.
fact? We're just gonna blow past the fact that she said she had to go through somebody's basketball court to get to.
Yeah, that's that fancy area over there, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I lived in bad sections of San Antonio when I did live there, so like the apartment complex I had my first time living in San Antonio was featured on that show, The First 48. So I'm in my living room watching the TV, and I'm like, oh, cool, The First 48. They're in San Antonio. Maybe I'll recognize something. Like, wait, I know that building. Oh,
Yeah, my basketball court growing up was one of those water weighted basketball hoops on the street, and then you have to stop every time a car passes by, or you try to shoot over the car.
and we didn't even have it out. Ours was in the driveway, but we had all the mesquite trees and stuff, because that's all that's down in South Texas that, trying to like shoot and you hit the limb and it's like, oh, foul, fault.
Speaking of Texas and where we're from, I don't think I've ever met anyone from the actual Panhandle, and that's where you're from, right, Sabrina?
That's correct. Yes.
This is the first time I can comfortably or confidently say I met someone from the Panhandle. Usually those are different kind of Texans, like mostly Oklahomans.
Well, I'm from the tippy top. If you're looking at the Panhandle, I'm in that little corner before you cross over into New Mexico. I literally grew up on the border. So it was like by day, yeah, we lived and went to school in Texas, but by night we did all of our shopping and everything else, going out to eat in New Mexico. I mean, that's how you grew up. And a lot of people that lived in Farwell, which is where I'm from, we all grew up with New Mexico driver's license because you did most of your business or your parents worked in New Mexico. And when I did beauty pageants in high school, I was running for Miss Border Town Queen. That was our big, that was our big title, Border Town Queen. So that gives you an idea.
Well, we had a border town queen where I'm from, but it was a different kind of a drugs.
Yeah.
I'm from a small border town where it was Texas and Mexico.
Oh, I
Old
see.
Mexico, as some of them would like to call or refer to it.
Okay.
Yeah, Kingsville, in Kingsville, if you had a border town beauty contest, it meant something completely different.
Do we want to go there?
I'm interested in what Arthur has going on in the Kingsville area.
I mean, we're trying to stay like a PG show at least, so
No, this is full on, man. You can cuss up a storm. You can talk about whatever. We have all kinds of topics in this podcast. So was it weird? Did you ever consider yourself, oh, maybe I'm not Texan because I'm mostly spending a lot of time in New Mexico or anything like that? Or you're like, nah, I'm full on Texan?
I think in my household, it was very important to recognize that you were Texan because my dad was Tejano all the way. I mean, he grew up in El Valle, but when he met my mother, they decided to settle in the Panhandle. My mom, she grew up in Texas. And so it was always a big thing to consider yourself Tejano, because New Mexicans were manitos and we were Tejanos. And it was like, oh, you don't ever marry a manito. It was kind of that little thing. It was very important to identify yourself as Tejano. So in my house, it was, you listen to Tejano music and you went to quinceañeras and you danced to Tejano music. And I mean, they wanted us to know our roots. But I'll tell you something that's very different. And this is one thing that I love about San Antonio is that and times have changed too. That we can be Hispanic and it's not a big deal. Like this, we're allowed to be who we are now. Where I grew up, it wasn't okay to be who you were, you see. And that's something that's very different about where I come from. I don't know if it's the same anymore. I mean, I see things are a little different when I'm looking back at their school books and their annuals now, and I see their social media. It's a very different ballgame than when I was growing up. We weren't even allowed to speak Spanish in school. You know, if you spoke Spanish or if you even had a Latino last name, I mean, you were ridiculed for those things, you know. So that's one of the things I love about living here in San Antonio now, is that I can raise my kids and they can be who they are, you know, and nobody makes fun of them or nobody, because, you know, everybody's something different, you know. And my kids, they're Native American and Latinos, so you can only imagine.
Oh, Native American and Latinos.
Yeah.
That's cool. I don't know what the good way to ask that, but like, what kind of like Native American heritage, or because that
My husband's Navajo. He's 100% Navajo.
Wow,
cool.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we do go back to New Mexico, they get to learn a little bit about where they're from. Like, you know, their grandparents do speak Navajo. They went to Navajo prep schools, and,
Wow.
you know, they try to teach them a little bit about who they are. Because my husband, he grew up in a very similar situation, except on the other side of New Mexico. And he said there was the same thing, that Navajos were ridiculed for being Navajo, you know, and it was like, you weren't allowed to speak Navajo in the school that he grew up in, you know, and it was like, so that's how he and I connected, because we're like, oh my gosh, very similar backgrounds, you know, but we were like, when we have children, it's going to be the complete opposite. We're going to teach them to be proud of who they are and be who they are. And who cares if anyone ridicules them for that, because that's who you are.
You know, it's funny. Excuse me. You know, it's funny. All three of us growing up so different places, but I kind of share a similar story to you, Sabrina. Growing up an hour south of Corpus, very, very Hispanic dominated society, and growing up being white down there, it was very similar. It was, you know, bullying and being made fun of, being beat up, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, my wife and I grew up down there together, and she had the same kind of experience.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's good to be able to look back on those experiences, seeing how things have changed, but also holding on to those, because it's a unique scenario a lot of times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up with, it was predominantly Mexican, but was you're either poor Mexican or rich Mexican, and if you're the poor Mexican, well, we all know where you're from. From Texas. From Texas, you're from Texas. Yeah, it turns out like the rich Mexicans were the ones that were coming from Mexico, and they had money. They could have been connected. We've never really were allowed to talk about it.
Yeah.
Until now, I think I still have some people on Facebook that, you know, might know me. No, but yeah, I've definitely. Is there a big culture or a Navajo? I don't know, what is it? Culture, tribe? I don't know what it is, but I don't want to ask it the wrong way. But population, there you go. A big Navajo population in the Panhandle area?
No, not in the Panhandle. He and I met because near where I grew up, there's Cannon Air Force Base. And after college, I had come home. I had a job assignment with a cosmetic company, and we opened up a counter at Cannon Air Force Base. My husband actually was coming from Alaska. That was his last assignment. And they had brought him back to close down Cannon Air Force Base, because originally that was what they wanted to do. And he and I just happened to meet. You know, we had both been in town a couple of weeks. My job assignment brought me there. His job brought him there. And that's how we met. And so we ended up meeting his family, and his family all actually lives in Albuquerque and Gallup and Farmington. That's where the entire Navajo Nation is, you know, and he grew up like in Window Rock, and, you know, that's where a lot of his family is. Arizona, you know, there's a huge Navajo population. You know, when we go back home for Thanksgiving, my girls, we normally will take them onto the reservation so they can see where they come from. And, you know, it's really crazy to go into their grocery stores, because everything on the walls, you know, it's almost like an HEB, but it's all in Navajo. Like everything is in their language. And
that's so
like,
awesome.
Really cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah.
It's interesting. And then another off-topic question. I know we're here to talk about Sabrina and Culture Gem, but this is too hard, too fast, and we get off the facts. In New Mexico, do the people that live in New Mexico refer to themselves as New Mexicans?
Yeah, overall, I think they do. Yeah, the ones I know. Yeah, they're like, oh, I'm Mexican. Yeah. Yeah.
Not just
Even
the
if
brown
they're
people. I'm
white.
saying, like, I still refer to myself as a new Mexican. You know.
Oh, I
But,
see.
but like,
So would I be like, if I was from New Mexico, would I be a New Mexican?
You would be a New Mexican. Yeah. You're a New
Hey,
Mexican.
you're close enough to the Mexican culture, Arthur. You're kind of a New Mexican. You know, you're new to the Mexican.
That's what some of the guys that grew up with in Kingsville, we would hang out and stuff, and I would say something or do something, and they would look at me and be like, "Damn, that's way more Mexican than we are." Like,
Oh man, Sabrina, when did you realize that you had a talent for singing?
Probably since I was like 3 or 4. You know, like I said, growing up, there was always music in my house, and my big brother was like always encouraging me to like entertain and like dance, and I kind of was that little kid that at every family reunion or every Christmas, whatever, I had an uncle that would say, "Oh, do that dance or do that commercial or do that, you know, whatever." And I was always like, "Okay, I'll do it." You know, that was me. And I mean, it was just something I always enjoyed doing, but I don't think I really knew that I could sing until I was probably like 7 or 8. I did my first musical theater production, which that's my history. My background is musical theater. I went to college for musical theater, and I mean, I worked with talent agencies doing musical theater stuff, or related stuff in South Carolina and Dallas, and even overseas. I did some stuff, and I mean, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. It was just something I always enjoyed doing. But it was then that I was like, wow, maybe this does sound good, or maybe, you know, I could actually do this. But it was like in junior high when I had my choir director tell me, like, you know, you can make a living doing this, right? Did you know that you can actually go to school for this? And you're like, okay, wow, you know, because coming from a small town like I did, there wasn't tons of opportunities, you know.
Yeah.
It's not. You know, I never imagined that I'd be doing this on the weekends for money. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it was too crazy of a thought that somebody
For
can
sure.
actually, you know,
for
make
sure,
it
was something
into
I
the
just did in
business.
my
Something
room
like
for
that.
fun, you know,
Yeah, in front of the mirror. Did you do the mirror
Yeah.
singing?
putting on my Debbie Gibson, or yeah, that shows you how old I am.
I don't.
He's like, who's Debbie Gibson?
I had my sister's 10 years older than me, so I know who Debbie Gibson is.
Well,
Okay, Paula Abdul. Y'all remember Paula Abdul? There you go.
who?
She did
I
that
don't
video
think-
where she danced with a cat, right, or something.
Yes.
No, I know Paula Abdul. But and also I brought up the mirror thing because I do that a lot. But trying to introduce the podcast, and this is what I do, and I still mess up everybody's intro, no matter how much I practice it. Maybe it's because I practice it too much, but I don't know how many times I practiced in front of the mirror saying your name and saying Culture Jam, and then changing the intro up, and then seeing how I'm gonna introduce Arthur right in front of the mirror. And every time I change my voice, welcome back, welcome back. And then I never even use that voice, so I don't know why I do that.
It's just warming up the vocal cords, though. You gotta, you go deep with it, and then you gotta go real high, and you find your balance.
I guess so. It's something. Oh man. So music theater. Are you a fan of musical shows, like in movies, musical movies? I don't know what they're called.
Most of them.
I'm a huge fan.
Most of them. Like In the Heights was amazing. Like
Yes.
I can't even tell you, like, that was awesome. My husband and I, we streamed that, and we played it in the backyard. We put it on the big screen and invited neighbors over and whatever. And we had a big party this summer and just enjoyed that. And it was just, yeah, it was so great. I can't even tell you how many times I cried. It was awesome. I mean, I love seeing Latinos portrayed on the big screen first and foremost. So to me, that is just a big feat in itself. But then,
Yeah, sorry, Arthur. It's our time now.
All right, well, I'll be right back.
sorry, Arthur. Arthur, you look Latino, so you know it's okay.
It's his lighting in the room. It's a little
Yeah,
dark.
it's the
Yeah.
It was so well done. I mean, and the dancing and the music, it was really enjoyable. Yeah.
I really love that. I love that movie and I love musicals. What I don't like too much is when there's a show that's on their final season and for some reason they feel like they need to do it. Now it's like becoming such a gimmicky thing, and
Yeah.
they throw a musical in there, and
Yeah.
it's just to me it's not that good.
No.
Yeah, I actually just watched a musical last night. I watched Across the Universe. I love that movie.
Oh, that was great. Yeah.
I don't think I know. Is that new or is that an older movie?
No, it's
Older.
older, but the whole movie is based on Beatles music.
Oh.
And it's funny because if you watch it from the beginning, it starts out kind of very, just traditional movie style with the Beatles music early on in their career. By the middle to, third part of the movie, when the Beatles kind of got into like some funky music, the movie gets real visual and with a lot of different visual effects. And then it finishes up kind of how they did on that rooftop, I'm trying to think what was the song, Get Back, when they recorded it on the rooftop, the Beatles did. That's kind of how the movie ends. They're playing All You Need Is Love, but on a rooftop. So I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it.
Nice. I'm gonna have to check it out. But spoiler alert, Peter McCarthy has always been a fake McCarthy, right? Is that a thing? Conspiracy theory?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Paul McCartney's he died in a car accident.
Let's not get started with that. We can talk about like all day.
Hey, that's what too hard, too fast. We don't have to have all. I messed up that line. Look, it's a line that's a part of the show, and I already messed it up. Too hard, too fast. We don't check facts. So, Paul McCartney, where's the real Paul McCartney?
Welcome back to the conspiracy section of Too Hard, Too Fast.
Do you believe that,
I'm a
Sabrina?
firm believer that he's the real thing. Like, I just think that was all a hoax. It was all. I don't believe in the conspiracy.
I'm not.
I honestly don't believe it either. But to this day, when they show him, I'm looking for like the scars where he had plastic surgery to look more like Paul, and I'm looking like I know it's really him, but I'm still like, I don't know.
When he's playing a show, that's when I get my thoughts. Like, he sounds way too good. He's still, moving too well. There's something fishy. And then YouTube just shuts it down. This is the end for Too Hard, Too Fast. So Sabrina, what inspires you when you're choosing your menu of music?
Well, it's a group decision. Like, I wish I could say that I just go, I want to do this and this and this, and we do it, but no. There's a lot of research that's involved, to be honest. We look at what's trending, what people are actually playing at corporate events, what people are asking for out of variety bands, and so we have Rolando Guerrero. He is actually our bass player, but he also coordinates like our set lists, and he makes a lot of the decisions about like, hey guys, this is what I found that's working and trending on YouTube, top 10, what do you think? And then we all vote on it. We have at least once, maybe every 2 months, we'll have like a group meeting and we discuss all these things. What are we going to add? What are we going to take away? What's working? What isn't working? So there's a lot of thought that goes into this.
I have a question, and something I've always been curious about, and this will probably be the moment when YouTube shuts us down. But what is the process? So a new song comes out, y'all want to do it. What is the process for, do you have to get the rights to it? Is there anything you have to do, like get permission or anything for songs? Or is it just kind of like, we're going to do this song because we want to do this song?
As long as we're not going to make a profit as far as recording or trying to release it, then, we have free reign to just, do our version, of it. And that's something that we do that's different from other bands as well. Like, we might switch something up. Like, we do a version of Crazy by CeeLo Green that is completely different than most bands will do, so we'll switch things up. We mash things up with other songs. But no, as long as you're not putting it on YouTube and as long as you're putting that little disclaimer, we do not own the rights to this music or, whatever. I mean, you're good to go, and as long as we're not trying to record it and sell the CD,
yeah. That's awesome. I will say from your YouTube channel, I loved your rendition of Bitty Bitty Bum Bum.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
It was really, really good. I really liked it.
Thank you so much.
Look at the guest co-host doing some research. Love it. So that's a really good question, because I was thinking about that when I was like, I don't want to ask it if it gets people in trouble, but it's thinking about that. It's because you have these YouTubers that sing covers on YouTube, and they still are able to put ads on their videos.
Yeah.
But just for my own example from this podcast, I've had singers on here and I use their music, but obviously I get permission for it, but I always run the risk of YouTube getting a copyright notification, and luckily it hasn't happened, except for only one time, and I think I overdid it with how much music I put in, and they did a whole strike, and I was like, but I have written permission, and I was like, doesn't matter.
I am currently banned from going on Facebook Live because of copyright claim for when I was at Disney World at the first part of October and the music.
Oh, because Disney will get everything out.
Oh yeah, which it was just me walking around with my gimbal with my phone, just live, so people, because I made people ride It's a Small World with me, because if I have to do it, everybody else needs to do it too. And that was the one that I got a thing saying now every time I look at videos and stuff, it tells me you're currently not allowed to go on Facebook Live.
Until when? Forever?
It's 30 days.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah.
Crazy. Oh man, that's awesome. That's crazy.
That's horrible.
That they got you for that. Sabrina. Dang, that's all I'm thinking is that it's the little song that's in my head now.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do
No,
it.
I can't. It ruined the podcast.
And fade out with that song.
When you guys make a decision on the song, like which one you're gonna choose, has there ever been a moment where maybe somebody can't play a certain chord on that song, or someone can't hit the right key? What do you guys do in that instance?
Well, this is so funny that you bring this up, because we ran into this. We had a gig not too long ago that they requested nothing but top 40 modern hits. And we do have quite a few modern hits that we've been working on throughout the last year. And we wanted to add a couple of more, modern songs, one being Maroon 5, Sugar. And so obviously as the lead singer, more than likely I'm going to have to sing it, because the only two singers we have are myself and the bass player. And he's like, well, I'm not singing it. And he's like, hey, we're going to see if you can sing it. And so here we are. And we tried changing the key and it just didn't sound right. And so it was like, this just isn't going to work. And so sometimes, even though we've put in a week of practice, or the guys have gone home to do their homework, because everyone does their homework at home. And then we come into the rehearsal and we see if we can, knock it out. And if we can't, then we drop it, and we move on. There's plenty of songs to do out there, but there are some songs that we've changed the key on, like some of the Bruno Mars that we do. We've had to change the key, because if I'm going to do a 3-hour show, I'm not going to be able to do Bruno Mars Treasure or Locked Out of Heaven in his original key and then make it through all the Selenas and everything else that I'm doing, you see. So it's all just it's a work in progress constantly, and there's songs that maybe we've been doing for a while that eventually we have to change the key, because I'm like, hey, I'm vocally exhausted today, Walking on Sunshine. We do not do that in the original key, but a lot of people don't recognize it. So
I know that song. I don't listen to the radio. It's all either Apple Music or whatever I'm using. I mean, if somebody said name a top 40 song, I mean, I'm wearing a Hank Jr. t-shirt. Like, I would have no idea anything in the top 40.
Yeah.
So I knew that last song you said though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how many or how often does somebody like request a song that you guys haven't had on your menu? And if you can't hit that, if you can't like change it up, you can't play it, what do you guys do? Like, do you just say, we're not doing it?
Oh yeah, we're not afraid to say no. Like, it happens at the winery all the time. We have people go, hey, do you know, they asked us if we did, oh gosh, what was it? Funky Cold Medina or something like that, right? So we turned around to each other and we're like, no. And then we're like, but we do the other Tone Loc one. Oh gosh, what's this other one?
I only listen to podcasts.
I don't know if you know Wild Thing, but
Wild Thing.
Oh
yeah.
yes.
So we're like, I think we can throw Wild Thing together. You know, we've never done it as a group, and we just threw it together, and you know, we were able to accommodate them without giving them exactly what they wanted. But we try to work with the guests as much as we can, but sometimes we just can't, and we tell them, sorry, we don't know it.
If you had to put a number on it, how many songs do you think are in your menu? I mean, all genres. So everything that y'all could possibly do.
I think we have at least 100 songs on our menu, or our master set list. There's at least 100. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, because these guys, like I said, 3 of them have been playing together for over 5 years, you know, and then Rolando, the guy that I told you, the bass player, he came in and joined them about 2.5 years ago. And he played with a cover band for 23 years in Los Angeles. So this guy's a pro. I mean, he already knew most of everything that they have been doing. Gino, same thing. He's been playing for years. All these guys, they're just amazing musicians, you know? So basically it comes down to me, whether or not I can sing it in the right key or if I can learn it. Most of the time I can. You know, I'm like, I don't know that song, but okay, I'll learn it, you know. So
I'll tell you, the most impressive part is being like memorizing all of this stuff. I mean, I did 8 years of band, and you know, we didn't have to memorize anything other than what the marching show was, and that was 3 songs. Mm-hmm. And that was hard enough. I know the practice that it took to be able to do that. So to be able to know 100 songs or more, to be able to do, you know, have access to like that, where it's not always what you have planned is what you're going to play, to be able to just, oh yeah, okay, this is how it goes. Like, that's impressive. I mean, that's ridiculously impressive.
Yeah. Well, we're all pretty tight, you know, all of us take this seriously. I mean, and I'll tell you, you know, I've been at this about 3 years. I've only been doing this 3 years, like the whole band thing, live musician thing. Again, coming from the theater background, this is a completely different, you know, world for me. And to come in and have these musicians and work with these musicians that they just have it together, because it took me probably 3 or 4 different bands to find the right band. Yeah. I was with another band for 2 years, and, you know, there was just so many of us, and not everyone always did their homework. You know, we were good. But we weren't as tight. And I don't think everyone was as dedicated as everyone is in this group. And that makes such a difference. You know, people have got to want the same thing. And that's so important. And we have this chemistry, like everyone genuinely likes each other. Like, we love hanging out together, and we love being around one another. And that makes such the hugest difference, you know. And my first year when I was here in San Antonio and looking for a band, I'm like, you know, cruising the scene, and I'm trying out for all these different bands. And I literally saw drama go down. You know, guys are funny. Y'all are just hilarious, you know, and y'all will argue about the funniest little things. And I'm just like, okay. And, you know, this is a male dominated, you know, industry. And so you're usually the only girl in the room, and you're sitting back going, and they're like, what do you think? What do you think? I'm like, I'm going to take sides here, you know? So I don't have to do that with Culture Jam. I don't have to. Like, we're all on the same side.
That's good. All of you have the same equal part of and making the decisions.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How often do you guys come together to practice? Or
Every
rehearse?
Monday.
Oh, okay. Nice. But
Every
then
Monday.
every other day you guys are just working on your own stuff and then you just put it together at rehearsal?
Absolutely. And then we're gigging probably once to twice a week, so
Wow.
yeah.
Did y'all have any big issues during 2020 with COVID and everything? Did it kind of put just an immediate hold on what y'all were doing, or did y'all manage to still be able to do stuff?
This was one of the only bands, and again, in 2020, I was just getting to know them, but they were one of the only bands that continued to work throughout 2020. Like I was watching them because I constantly was watching other bands, seeing what they were doing, so I could kind of bring that back to the band I was with. And they were just so consistent. I mean, they got out there, but they took precautions, they were taking safety precautions, and they were trying to play outdoor venues, so that they could social distance. And, you could see in some of their old videos and, they were socially distancing on stage. And so I was like, these are the guys that I could play with, I mean, they take this seriously, and they still do. Everyone still carries their mask and make sure that, like, if we're going to leave the stage, like, we don't allow just anyone to approach us, we always have our hand sanitizers with us and everything, like, we're always still trying to take proper precautions, and we stress that to everyone in the audience as well. Like, hey, stay safe out there, but yeah, they stayed consistent. They stayed busy throughout 2020.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, that was one thing, because I love live music. And when everything got real bad, a lot of some of my favorite artists would go to like Facebook Live or live on YouTube or something, still doing shows where people could talk to them, could, send a message and request songs and all of that. So it's funny. I think when all is said and done, what came out of COVID is just the immense innovation of what can be done. I mean, look what we're doing right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, that's something I was going to mention is that we're on a website called The Bash, and that's how we get a lot of our gigs, a lot of our private and corporate events. And there's people constantly reaching out to us asking if we'll do like a private online event for 30 minutes or 15 minutes, hey, we'll throw you X amount of dollars. Will y'all just do a Zoom event for us, or, a private event online, and we're like, sometimes we're like, okay, maybe. And then we're like, no, if the money's right, okay, we'll do it. But yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think with, as great as it is to do Zoom for stuff like that, I think missing out on that audience reaction is hard, because, the song ends and it's like,
right.
Yeah, next.
Yeah,
Right.
You'll see like the little hearts maybe pop up, but it's not the same as people going.
Exactly. Yeah.
And even then,
somebody
like,
gave
on
us a
here-
frowny face.
Stop frowning. Yeah, why are you angry? And yeah, you can't have somebody coming up to you going, "Play Maroon 5."
Right.
Free bird.
How many times do you guys get Freebird?
Never.
I feel like there's always some drunk in the bag on Freebird. Freebird.
I'm that drunk.
Oh no.
Someone was going way too hard, too fast.
Play Copperhead Road.
Oh, I love that one.
We do get
All right,
that
so-
requested a lot. Yeah.
Really, that one?
Yeah. But we don't know it, so we're like,
I
sorry.
didn't know there's actually a dance to it. Did y'all know that?
No.
I was DJing at a bar that I worked at in College Station. I say DJing, I was just playing music on a computer. It wasn't, anything. But yeah, I had this really drunk woman come up and she's like, "Play the Stomp song." The what? The Stomp song. The Stomp. I don't know what that is. She just kept repeating it. I'm like, look, I didn't know it the first time. I don't know it on the fourth time you're asking. Somebody finally said, "Oh, it's Copperhead Road." Why they call it the Stomp song? So I played it and I learned why they call it the Stomp song.
Yeah, it's really cool. The dance is pretty interesting. And then
Yeah.
I love when it ends, and like at least in clubs or like dance halls, they'll turn off all the lights when it ends, and all you hear is boom, 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 like everybody from the dancing. It's so cool.
Oh my gosh. Crazy. Crazy.
Well, Sabrina, we won't keep you too long. I think we're coming closer to the end. Before we get into this last question, very important last question that I forgot to warn you about.
Uh-oh.
Where can somebody book you, find your music or Culture Jam music? And obviously we know if you're in the Fredericksburg area, Fredericksburg, Texas, check them out at Badass Ranch every third Thursday on Saturday. No, every third Thursday, Saturday. This Elvis Peanut Butter has been
too hard, too fast, George.
Too hard, too fast. Every third Saturday of the month.
Every third Saturday.
But where can somebody book you guys or check you guys out?
Y'all can check us out on Instagram or Facebook at Culture Jam SA, or you can check out our website at www.culturejamband.com.
Nice. And now for this question, Arthur, are you a fan of Too Hard, Too Fast?
I am.
Do you know the
I
final
listen to you at work.
question? Do you know the final question that we're supposed to ask our guest?
You know what? It's been so long since I've heard a podcast. Now I don't remember.
Sabrina, what is your Too Hard, Too Fast story? A moment where you've gone either too hard, too fast on some hotty toddies, or maybe something that happened on stage, can't say the national anthem, that moment, or some words of wisdom that you want to share.
Oh my God. All right. I was a crazy little kid back when I was in my 20s. So I have
those hotty toddies.
Grandma hit those hotty toddies.
Well, okay. This was pre-hotty toddy days. This was back when my favorite drink, because I love rum. You know, I love anything with rum. And I used to love, and I can't say the real name because it's a curse word. So, but
you can cuss on here.
Okay.
100%. Arthur, you're a motherfucker.
Remember Royal Fox?
Wait, what?
Royal Fox?
No, what is that?
Well, some people call it a Royal Flush. And it has like Grand Marnier, and it has like rum, and it has like cherry grenadine, and like, I don't know, all kinds of crap. Anyways, that used to be my favorite drink. So anytime I used to go out with my girlfriends, that's what we used to order. And I was just telling my husband this story the other day. This is so funny that you asked me this. And so we're drinking some, we're out, you know, and me and my girlfriends, we had the tendency, like back in the day, you know, we were super cute, you know, college girls. So we always had guys like buying us drinks, whatever. We had drinks coming from here, drinks coming from here. One night we had a few Royal Flushes, and I woke up somewhere, I don't know where I was, in the middle of the kitchen floor, but that's my Too Hard, Too Fast story. And I don't know the ending to it. So
not knowing is better than knowing sometimes.
Probably. Yeah, I probably don't want to know. And I would ask my girlfriend, but she doesn't even know where we were. So we just got up and we went home. So yeah.
Fair enough. Cheers. Cheers to that. Cheers to Sabrina Begay, to Culture Jam. Arthur, thank you for being a good co-host.
Thanks
co-host.
for having me.
Appreciate it. Oh.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you, Arthur. Thank you, George.
Arthur, any last words?
Again, thank you for having me. Check out my YouTube channel. It is the Rowdy Texan Abroad. I planned on it being kind of a little bit of everything, but so far I've got like 4 videos and 3 of them are me cooking food. So I'm planning on doing one tonight though, because I bought a 4-pound bone-in ribeye that I'm going to do tonight. So be checking that out. Yeah, that's it.
Good, because it was good and kind of long. But no, Arthur, you are a good cook. So those videos I've enjoyed myself. But with that said, remember, dare to be you, dare to be weird. Bye.